Right now, outgoing Madison Police Chief Sean Barnes gives his final thoughts on his time here in the community. This as he prepares to move to Seattle. Plus, another concert is coming to Camp Randall this summer. Who's performing and when you'll be able to get tickets. Well, good afternoon, and thanks for tuning in to News 3 Now at noon. I'm Michelle Renee Quinn, in for Josh today. Madison Police Chief Sean Barnes is entering his final week in the role, and he says he expects the downward trend in crime to continue after he leaves. It comes amid recent data which shows crime has declined during his tenure. Chief Barnes sat down with our Susan Simon to reflect on his 4-year spell in the role. He says he's proud of the work he's done to build partnerships and trust in the community.
Fear of crime is something that's very important to me. It'll be important to the next chief. It's important to every other chief. And there are some things that we can do around that. What does the environment look like? What does the lighting look like? Do we have, graffiti paints? Do we have boarded up windows? Do we see people out who look like they may be engaged in criminal activity? And is that just your uncomfortableness with those people? Or is there something really going on there? Sometimes seeing police makes people feel unsafe. My hope for the department is to continue our efforts to improve community police relations. We thank everyone that fully supports our police department, and those who do not fully support us, the department looks forward to earning your trust.
Assistant Police Chief John Patterson will take over as interim chief. Patterson is a 25-year veteran of the department. He'll hold the role until the city's Police and Fire Commission names a new permanent chief. Barnes, meanwhile, will take on the role of police chief in Seattle. That city has a population 3 times as large as Madison's. Speaking of police chiefs, happening today, the city of Middleton will swear in its new police chief, Stephen Thompson. Chief Thompson previously served in a variety of leadership roles in the New Berlin Police Department. He has a master's degree in criminal justice administrative leadership at Northwestern University. The swearing in is this afternoon at 3. His time as chief officially starts on Monday. And while plans for a new Buc-ee's in DeForest are stalled, the travel center chain is trying to open another location in Wisconsin. It would be in Oak Creek outside of Milwaukee on I-94. Buc-ee's is known for its Texas-sized convenience stores, tasty brisket, and cleanest restrooms in America. The store is slated to open in early 2027. What does this mean for the plans to open in DeForest? Well, developers hope to break ground by now and open later this year. However, there have been delays because of negotiations over paying for highway improvements around the site. The DeForest mayor says they're in contact with Buc-ee's, who has confirmed their commitment to DeForest. And another concert is set to have Camp Randall Stadium jumping around this year and this summer. Country music star Morgan Wallen will bring his I'm the Problem tour to Madison on June 28th. Wallen will be joined by special guests Miranda Lambert and Ella Langley. You can sign up for the artist pre-sale from Friday until midnight on Tuesday. The pre-sale begins on January 30th. General sales will begin on January 31st at 10 a.m. at morganwallen.com. This weekend, News 3 Now is partnering with the Society of St. Vincent de Paul again for its annual Recycle the Warmth Blanket Drive. The drive runs tomorrow and Sunday, and we're looking for bedding, blankets, and sheets that will be distributed throughout the year in order to keep children in need warm. You can drop off new and gently used blankets, bedding, and sheets at St. Vinny's thrift store locations around Dane County, as well as the participating churches, businesses, and other organizations. You can find a map of drop-off sites on the Society of St. Vincent de Paul's website. News 3 Now and Babies and Beyond are once again teaming up to help families in need. Starting January 27th, we will be holding our community baby shower. We're asking people to donate baby essentials to help families across the region. Some of the items needed include diapers, pull-ups, baby wipes, and formula. Items can be dropped off at the Babies and Beyond Donation Center located on South Stoughton Road. And some of us could get some snow later today. First Warn meteorologist Blaze Keller has a look at your certified most accurate forecast.
That's right, Michelle. We might see some snow later tonight, and that could continue into your Saturday as well. But we are going to remain quiet through most of the Friday afternoon time frame. Temperatures are going to also increase as well compared to yesterday. Some of us already a few degrees to almost 10 degrees warmer than the same time on Thursday, and that's because southerly winds have taken on over. southwesterly winds in particular in some spots. That southwesterly wind component really does help in just that little bit more warmth compared to even southerly winds. So we're in the teens right now, low to mid-teens, but we're beginning to get close to at least 20 degrees. Camp Douglas as well as Black River Falls, we're at 17, 18 degrees, 17 in Bosco Bell as well, 12 in Janesville. Over the last few hours, clouds have been steadily moving back in out of the southwest thanks to those southwesterly winds. So we are anticipating more cloudy conditions into your afternoon ahead of that light snow chance overnight and then throughout your Saturday as well. We'll climb into the upper teens to low 20s today. We're ending the weekend much warmer than where we started this last week off. We are no longer in those single digits, and we're expecting 30s and maybe even some low 40s into your upcoming work week. We'll track out snow totals by the time we are all said and done with Saturday, and then what lies ahead next week in the full forecast.
Well, I am certainly looking forward to those warmer temperatures.
Me too.
Thanks, Blaze. We'll check in shortly. President Donald Trump wraps up his first week in office with a trip out of Washington, D.C. today. He's visiting communities recovering from recent disasters. The president's tour comes as the annual anti-abortion rights rally, March for Life, takes place in the nation's capital. Erica Brown has the latest from Washington, D.C.
President Trump arrived in Asheville, North Carolina Friday to receive a briefing on Hurricane Helene recovery efforts and to meet with families affected by the devastating storm.
I'll be taking strong action to get North Carolina the support that you need to quickly recover and rebuild.
It's part of a disaster tour that also includes a stop in Los Angeles to survey the catastrophic wildfires that are still burning. The president's first trip of his second administration follows new criticism from Trump about FEMA, the federal agency responsible for responding to disasters.
I'll also be signing an executive order to begin the process of fundamentally reforming and overhauling FEMA, or maybe getting rid of FEMA. I think, frankly, FEMA is not good.
Trump said he'd rather see states handle their own disaster response and that FEMA's role should just be to give states money. The president said he'd be watching the annual anti-abortion rights rally taking place here in Washington today. His vice president, J.D. Vance, and Republican leaders in the Senate and the House are among those speaking at the March for Life event.
No, we ain't losing hope. There's gonna be hard times.
Even with the Supreme Court overturning Roe versus Wade in 2022, organizers say they continue to march because there's still more work to do to reduce the number of abortions in the U.S. each year. Erica Brown, CBS News, Washington.
President Trump is set to deliver a recorded message to the rally. And a programming note for today, News 3 Now's newscast at 4, 5, and 6 this afternoon will air on our secondary channel, Television Wisconsin. That's channel 3.2 over the air. You can also watch on channel 3000 plus. The reason for the change is that CBS will be airing the Farmers Insurance Golf Tournament during that time. Coverage of the tournament begins at 4. Coming up next, Fitbit agrees to pay a civil penalty over some of its smartwatches. Plus, Purdue Pharma reaches a settlement deal with several states over the opioid crisis.
You're watching News 3 Now at noon. Moving forward.
%59 of Americans don't have enough savings to cover a $1,000 emergency expense, according to a new survey from Bankrate. Despite cooling inflation, higher prices and shrinking products have cut into many Americans' ability to save as much. Bankrate also found that 73% of people say they're saving less for unexpected expenses, up from 68% last year. The Sackler family and Purdue Pharma have reached a $7 billion settlement deal with 15 states for fueling the opioid crisis. That's according to New York's Attorney General. The settlement also bars the Sackler family from selling opioids in the U.S., and it bars them from running Purdue Pharma. If approved in court, the funds would go towards supporting opioid addiction treatment, prevention, and recovery programs nationwide. Meanwhile, Fitbit has agreed to pay a more than $12 million civil penalty over its recalled Ionic smartwatches. According to the Consumer Product Safety Commission, the smartwatches contained a defect that caused them to overheat and burn more than 70 users. Fitbit discontinued the product back in 2020. That's your CBS News Money Watch report. For more, log on to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the CBS Broadcast Center, I'm Chanel Call.
Here's a look at the stock numbers. The Dow Jones is down 86 points, the Nasdaq is down 66, and the S&P 500 is down 4. Our Call for Action volunteers are in the building taking your consumer complaints and taking action on your behalf. You can call for action at 608-270-2833 or submit a claim anytime at channel3000.com/call-for-action. Up next, Pam is back with today's farm numbers and Blaze returns with the forecast. Then later on, live at 4, Josh Sprider is working for the weekend with 3 things for you and your family to do in the 608. Welcome back. Let's check in now with our fabulous farm babe, Pam Yonke, for your Midwest Farm Report. Good morning. Good afternoon, rather.
Yep. Hi, Michelle Renee. Yeah, it is a beautiful afternoon. It's beautiful to look at. Hopefully by the time we get to the end of the weekend, it's going to be nice to the touch. Although we are seeing a little bit of a break from those sub-zero temperatures we experienced earlier this week, still a lot of Wisconsin winter ahead, and Greene County is preparing for it in an unusual way, at least for right now. According to Chris Narveson, who is Greene County's highway commissioner, they're using cheese whey, or should say cheese brine, as a part of their highway treatments. He said it worked really well last year. It's about a 22 to 23% brine, which means it's not as salty as all-out salt. He said that does less damage to the road, the environment, and they get great results as far as traction, so much so that last year they used about 100,000 gallons of the cheese brine. This year, they've already used 75,000 gallons, and they've retooled and added a few more trucks with that technology. So they'll be using more cheese brine as road treatments through the rest of this winter. We've heard those kinds of stories before in northeast Wisconsin. It's been pickle juice or pickle brine that they've been using for road treatments to not only save expense, but protect the environment. And on a sad note for a Friday, I want to send my condolences and sympathies to Alice Antonevich and all of their family. Ray Antonevich, who has been a long time University Extension educator, a horse specialist, passed away after more than 30 years of service in University Extension as our state horse specialist. He's been very involved with the Midwest Horse Council, and he also opened his doors to the general public at A to Z Farms in Oregon for many years with lambs. He and his wife Alice had a couple hundred ewes, and every spring they'd invite the public to come out and watch the babies as they were born and get their legs under them. Sue Simon and I did many morning shows out there, hanging on to those fuzzy little babies and learning more about the lambing season. Ray Antonevich, sorely missed by the horse community and all of our agricultural community. His services are next week. Talking a little bit about the markets today, we're continuing to monitor a situation out of South America. The quality of their beans so poor that China has actually started to refuse some of their loads. That's helped our U.S. soybean price. As far as dairy is concerned today, again, not a lot of action as far as cheese is concerned. Barrel cheese unchanged on a Friday at $1.82. 40-pound block cheese was up a penny and a quarter at $1.83 and a quarter. AA butter actually managed to gain a penny and 3/4 cents in late trading on a Friday, up to $2.53 a pound going into the weekend. So there you go, Michelle Renee. I'm just like you, happy to see a little bit of a break on these sub-zero temperatures. Looking forward to a warmer weekend.
Yeah, Pam. Well, we're going to check right back in with Blaze right now, and we're going to get the full forecast.
Yes, mild temperatures, they are on the way. We are done with the single digits, at least for the foreseeable future. No single digits for high temperatures, and I believe low temperatures in our extended forecast. So we're saying goodbye to that Arctic blast, at least for now. We obviously have all of February and March to contend with, but in the short term, we can breathe a little bit easier if we're not a fan of the cold weather for sure. Light snow does return tonight as we go into your Saturday as well. And then we cool off just a tiny bit, not back into those single digits on Sunday before we really start to kind of ease into the mild air that arrives and sticks around throughout your next work week. A quick moving low pressure system is going to scoot through kind of the Canadian-U.S. border there. And that means higher snow totals are likely going to be found further to the north. But as we go overnight and then into the morning hours on Saturday along the warm front, we may see some light snow, and then along the cold front as well as that system exits later Saturday into early Sunday. High pressure then takes over as we go into Sunday. That's what we usually see once low pressure systems move on through. They're then followed by a high pressure system. This high pressure system is going to kind of sandwich us between another low that's going to stay in Canada, and that's going to bring some windy conditions into not only your Monday and Monday night, but likely into your Tuesday as well. Let's take it in closer to home and see that snow as it moves in starting later this evening. Kind of hit or miss snow showers. Again, not everybody is underneath the blue, so we're not expecting widespread snow activity, but it may cause some brief, maybe low visibility as you're driving home tonight. And then as we go throughout your Saturday, we're going to be dealing with those hit or miss snow showers as well. Maybe a better chance for that more consistent snow along the cold front as that low pressure system begins to exit. We're looking at about 7 o'clock Saturday evening, and by then the cold front should have passed. So we're looking at probably between 4 and 6 for that cold front, maybe a line of snow to move through parts of central and southern Wisconsin, leaving us with about a half an inch or less. I would say the inch or less is a very generous amount of snow with this. Certainly higher or further north, you're going to have that better chance for closer to an inch. But I would say here across central and southern Wisconsin, we're looking at maybe a half an inch at best. Not a lot of moisture with this, and that low pressure system center is just too far north for us to get a lot of that upward motion in the atmosphere to get more of those consistent snow showers overnight and throughout your Saturday. But as we've been mentioning and kind of talking about, the warmer air is on the way. Every single high temperature from now through our 10-day forecast is at least a degree warmer than where we should be for this time of year, especially Monday of next week. That's going to be our warmest compared to normal. We're looking at about temperatures to be about 12 degrees to 15 degrees warmer than where they should be for this time of year. We find that bullseye of about a 60 to 70% confidence level of warmer air just to our west, but we're at about that 30 to 40% chance. And the reason why I bring this out is because when we were really cold, Alaska and parts of Canada, they were in that orange and that deep red, indicating that warmer air. So we flip-flop. The cooler air is back where it would normally be for this time of year, that Arctic air, back up into parts of Alaska and northwestern Canada. And now we're going to be sitting underneath more of that warmer than normal air, or at least seasonal air, as we go into next week and maybe the next 6 to 10 days. There's a snapshot of our high temperatures over the course of the month. Single digits to start off this week, but we are ending in those double digits, in those 20s. Teens and 20s today with increasing cloud cover. Again, that chance for snow is going to return overnight. There is a look at your 7 and your 10-day forecast. We're looking at maybe the 40s Monday and Wednesday of next week before a light rain snow mix chance to end next week. And temperatures look pretty consistent in those 30s all throughout next week. So it's going to feel like a heat wave.
You know what? We accept that heat wave. We want those double digits. Blaze, thank you.
We made it through the Arctic blast.
Yes, we did. Up next, Howard has a sheet pan recipe that's as fitting for breakfast as it is for dinner.
The last thing any of us want to do after making a meal is to clean up a bunch of pots and pans. That's probably why sheet pan cooking has become so popular. If you're not familiar with it, today's recipe will introduce you to the concept. It's a recipe that's perfect for any time of day, including dinner. Well, that's when you serve breakfast for dinner. We start by cutting a hole in the center of 6 slices of country-style or sourdough bread. We butter one side and place it butter side down on a baking sheet. Next, we crack an egg into each hole and sprinkle it with some Parmesan cheese and a bit of salt and pepper. All that's left to do now is bake them until the eggs are cooked just the way you like them. Once they're done, we'll top them with some crumbled bacon along with some sliced scallions. That's it. Whether you serve this for a hearty breakfast or a fun change of pace dinner, you're gonna love how all the flavors and textures come together. If you'd like to try the recipe for our sheet pan toad in a hole, simply visit our website. I'm Howard with Hungry Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found an easy breezy way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
If you're looking to better your golf game, the George Vitens Golf Academy is providing tips to help you lower your score. Here's Joel Weitz showing us how to properly use the golf mat as a tool. Here's Blaze with a final check of the forecast.
Yes, well, we are looking at quiet conditions for the most part on this Friday. We are ending the work week in those double digits, as you can see behind me, your 10-day forecast. Clouds are going to be increasing as we go throughout the rest of your afternoon, but we are looking at some light snow chances beginning overnight and throughout your Saturday. We're keeping it at about 20%, not widespread and certainly not heavy snow. Most of us will probably only make off with about a quarter to a half an inch of snow at best, and we're going to be above freezing, so some of that snow will melt throughout your Saturday. Cooler on Sunday, partly sunny conditions, so we say goodbye to some of that cloud cover, and then next week you're looking at it 30s Monday through that following Saturday, could even squeeze out a few light low 40s Monday and Wednesday of next week. We are looking at maybe hit or miss chances for some maybe light snow, light rain snow mix Monday and Tuesday. Certainly a better chance for that wintry mix returning by the end of next week into that Saturday. But we are no longer seeing single-digit highs or single-digit overnight lows, nothing below zero either, so we can breathe a sigh of relief. We are at least done with the Arctic blasts, the cold, cold air as we look to end your January and go into February.
Well, I am loving these new temperatures.
Same.
Thank you, Blaze. We'll be back at 4.